Welcome to the Social University Podcast. We are so glad you're joining us today because we want to help business owners, entrepreneurs, and people just like you who want to build their business online. Listen, if we can do it, you can do it. So let's go.
So what's the best kind of content to get hooked or to hook your audience? That's what we're going to talk about today. Some of the content that is the most engaging, which topics are the most engaging. And I have a cool free download for you guys. I promise 30 hooks that are engaging for your content, your initial sentence, your one-liners. Went a little bit overboard, found 11 different categories. So now we have over 100 hooks. Free download. I will post the link at the end of our session today. So let's just go ahead and jump in. Okay. Let me fix this. Here we go. Okay. First and foremost, let's talk about what actually you need to be aware of as you are generating your own content. Last week, we talked about caption length and ideal caption length is super helpful. It is. So let's talk about the actual content this week. First and foremost, you do need to be aware of some of the trends for 2024 as you are generating your own content calendar. Social media platforms are only going to grow in popularity. That it is what it is. Longer videos are going to make a comeback. When I say longer, I mean 2 minutes instead of 6 seconds. So we're not talking about an hour and a half. We're talking about 2 to 5 minutes. That may not be the best format for you. We do pretty well with long form video, but it doesn't work for everybody. So I'd say test that. Shares are going to start outranking likes and comments, which means the more shareable your content is, the more likely you are to do better with it. So you want to make content that's super engaging. And carousels are, of course, gaining popularity. And according to Instagram, they want you to post 10 pictures a day, which might not be super realistic, but it is out there. So let's go ahead and really get into what we talked about trends. Now let's talk about what is the best kind of content to actually generate better engagement. Okay, video. You have to know it's video. Just a quick look at Facebook. You're talking about people are on Facebook. They're watching over 4 billion videos a day. 50% of content on Facebook is video consumption. Live videos have the highest engagement rate. And of course, still over 80% of videos on Facebook are soundless. So you need to have captions on when your video content plays because a lot of people will watch it with sound off or reduce sound. Like us old folks watching TV, we're got to have the captions on, or, it's dark and you're driving and you can't see where you're going. So you turn the radio down. I don't know what that is about, but captions absolutely work. Okay. We're going to cover some categories that are ranked the highest for engagement. We're going to talk about questions first and foremost. And again, in this free download, there's a whole series of questions that are built to garner engagement, but asking people their opinion is one of the first things you can do to start to build that content where people will talk back to you. Behind the scenes, I cannot tell you how popular this is. People want to connect with you personally, and showing them what you do behind the camera is super effective for that. They want to know what's going on. That's why these Get Ready With Me videos are so incredibly popular, because people are showing what they look like before makeup. They're just being themselves. That transparency, it really translates. Trending topics. One of the biggest trending topics is humor. It is going to only grow in popularity. There are accounts I follow, the folks at the Olympics. It's amazing, stunningly funny. There's actually a new account that is a car dealership that is filming content office style, where it's like a mockumentary and they talk directly to the camera. I'm not entirely sure of who is in charge of that, but they are, I don't want to throw around the word genius, but it's clever, and it's genius, and it's actually getting people more committed, the actual watching, and it's like a used car dealer. It's crazy. So you want to, that's what that's for. Oh my God. Yeah. So you want to go ahead, and if you're funny, be funny. If you're not funny, maybe work with a team member whose humor you value over your own. Okay, so trending topics, definitely humor. Stories are popular. And when I say stories, I don't necessarily mean like stories on Instagram or stories on Facebook. I mean, tell your story. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be yours. It can be content driven from experience that you've had with a client or another employee. So if I'm telling you about the worst case scenario or one of our favorite clients or that time when we did those kind of stories, they translate. It's very transparent, it's personal, and it helps people connect with you specifically. Infographics work. If you are not familiar with an infographic, it's exactly what it says it is. It's a bunch of information in a graphic. They tend to be bigger. Canva has some amazing templates for infographics. But if you have a top 5 list, if you have a top 10 list, you can take those infographics and drop and drag content in there, and then people will share it across multiple platforms. It tends to do very well on specifically graphic-oriented platforms, Pinterest, Facebook, pretty well. People need to see you. They need to see your face. I cannot tell you how many business owners don't want to hear that. They don't want to get in front of the camera. And I understand there's trepidation there, but you do have to put yourself into your own marketing plan. It's your voice, it's your company, it's your vision, it's you. So if you have an opinion on something, or if you have information to share, or if you're just showing what's going on behind the scenes, people need to see your face. It helps. It helps a lot. Content marketing is huge right now. And content marketing is anything, of course, content generated that supports you and your organization. It really plays into the whole search engine optimization, ranking, but just simply enough, your blog and your podcast are where you have the ability to share your own voice, share your own message, share your own information exactly the way you want to. So that kind of content normally does really well. And you don't have to record, an hour every day if you're doing a podcast, or you don't have to write a blog every day. You definitely want to have some content and you want consistency there. But if your ideal is once a week's great. So, again, make it work for you. But content marketing does work. Industry tips, breaking news, that has a tendency to be very popular for us when there is information especially from Facebook or Instagram, and the new algorithms. We love that. That's what people really tune in, because seriously, that's why you're following us. So we can keep up with what's going on and you don't have to watch it, because we do. So what's happening specifically in your industry, if there are laws or regulation changes, if there's new information, if there's information that you're seeing circulated that's wrong, that's industry news, and you want to share it with your end user, your audience. And then, of course, contests, giveaways, special events or sales. That's the kind of thing where you can engage your already loyal fans, your already loyal following will really engage with contests and giveaways. I will say as a caveat here, you want to make sure that you're following all of the rules, especially on Facebook and Instagram, because Facebook doesn't mess around. And if you break the rules, they have the right to take down, deactivate, or delete your business account. So that's not fun. Pay attention, follow the rules. And we hear that all the time. This other company didn't do that. I get it, but we don't want to roll the dice with your company. You worked hard for that. And we don't want the opportunity to lose it. Okay, so now you know what kinds of content build engagement. Let's talk about the best ways, the actual execution part of creating that content that's going to help you. So how are you going to make all of these different topics work? You're going to be consistent. Consistency is key. You are training the algorithm on each platform you post on. I'm going to post this many times a week. I'm going to post on these days so that it will come look for you, so that it will go get your information when you are consistent. You're training it. YouTube in particular, they love consistency. They like the same day, same time, same number of posts per week. They really reward consistency on YouTube. So you have to be consistent. And I understand life gets in your way. Things are overwhelming. We are going to get more into that later this month. And Jason pops in and says he can't stress enough about consistency. He's 100% right. If you are engaging with a client, or by the time they've called you, they've already checked out your online presence. I would say, 11 times out of 10, they have already checked out your online presence. And if you haven't posted anything on Facebook in 2 years, or if you started an Instagram account that has one post and that's it, It makes you look like you don't care or you don't know that you're not doing it. And, careless and dumb are not the way to make your first impression on a potential new client. Consistency is key. And these folks, a lot of businesses, they're going to look at Facebook before they go look at your website. So you do have to have a presence. It does need to be consistent, and you do need to make sure you have content planned out. You also want to target your audience. This is important because if I'm selling skateboards on Facebook, I am on the wrong platform for my target audience. You have to understand who your best client is and who spends money with you or who donates money to you or who is going to listen to your message to buy future product. Those are the people you want to target, and you have to be on a platform where they are. You can't just jump on Instagram and assume that you're talking to 12-year-old girls, although there's probably a pretty good chance 12-year-old girls are on Instagram, but you need to understand your audience first to pick the platform so that you can target those folks where they are. Keep it short. There are content creators who do very well with 2,000 caption posts on Instagram. I am not that guy. I feel like that is overkill. I am not going to consume it. I am not going to put it out there. Now, if you experiment with that and that works for you, that's awesome. But that is a lot of content. So I would say keep it to your ideal caption length. And I want to say your ideal caption length on Instagram is something around 160 characters. It's not massive. Most people, if they get past the first sentence, they're not going to hang in there for 18 paragraphs of content. So get to the point. And see, this is why the hooks are so important. If they don't get past the first sentence, they're done. So that's why it's so critically important to hook them at the beginning so they'll continue to consume that content. Okay. Quality over quantity. I would much rather see you put out 2 or 3 really good posts a week than to try to put out 6 posts a week and some of them are just terrible. And you know what I'm talking about. When it's not your best work and you're frantic and it's Tuesday at 4:00 and you haven't posted anything in 4 days and you've got to get something up there. People can tell. They can tell. When it's good, they know. When it's quick, hurry up job, they know. So good over fast, always. You just want to make sure that it's good content, and less good content is better than a whole lot of yuck content. You need to be relatable and human. And there's a season for everything. And we went through the polished season. We've done it twice. There's been a kind of a flow twice in the last 10 years. When Pinterest came out, everything started to be super polished and pinnable and every streamlined graphics and streamlined aesthetic. And then Pinterest fails started to happen because normal people can't maintain that kind of perfection consistently. It happened with Instagram, cultivated, very processed, very aesthetic posts, feeds. People, that's not normal. It's not, you can't maintain that constantly forever. People would much rather see you as you. Yes, I messed this up. This is how I fixed it. Yes, I struggled as a new mom. Yes, I had postpartum. I didn't come out of the maternity ward with animated animals dancing around my heels. People want to know the real side, the nightmare side, the problems, the sins, the train wrecks. It's relatable because they go through it too. So just be you and just be human. Now, if your version of you, and I have friends who are more polished, that's great. If that's who you are, do that. That is not me. I am not that guy. So you just want to be relatable. If you've seen one of the videos we posted recently is me saying the same thing 4 or 5 times because I couldn't get it right. Yes, I've done 1,000 videos. I have been training across the country for 10 years. I still mess up. It's normal to mess up. And I don't want you to get so wrapped up in the perfect that you don't get it done. Just be you. Great images and knowing where to find great images. Of course, everybody knows about Canva. Becky says, I always get more engagement when I'm not made 100%. And for those of you guys who don't know Becky, she's our shiny unicorn. And if anybody's going to be sparkly, it's her. But yeah, just be you. I mean, this is it. This is not filtered. Shocking, right? But yeah, just be you. Okay. So going back to graphics, different platforms, different websites have different kinds of graphics. Everybody knows about Canva. It's the largest collection now that they've absorbed Unsplash, but Pexels has great tags. So if you're looking for something specific and you can't find it, you're going to find it on Pexels. Pixabay is photos, vectors, and art illustrations. Art illustrations and vectors are more difficult to find. So Pixabay, and these are all free. These are all, and there's paid versions of everything, but you can access a lot of this for free. Unsplash is the largest collection. Again, they have been absorbed by Canva, so you have access to that if you have a paid Canva account. Reshot is super unique. You just need to go check it out. They have a ton of content you're not going to find on other platforms, which, when you're trying to stand out, super effective. Burst is made specifically for entrepreneurs, and it's built around business-themed niches. So if you're a realtor, there's going to be realtor stuff. If you're an accountant, there's going to be accountant stuff. There's all kinds of different, very specific business niche stuff on Burst. New old stock, there are vintage photos from public archives. There's some really cool stuff there, and it's unusual. So when you're looking for something nobody else has, that's a good place to go. Gratisography, you want to talk about quirky and whimsical and unusual. Gratisography has some of the most whimsical stuff I've ever seen. Stock Vault, that's going to give you your textures, your photos, your illustrations, and they add new content every day. So the same library from Friday is not the library today. So if you're looking for something new, something different, they're constantly adding content. And New York Public Library, which I think is the most overlooked resource, period, they have so many great images, and they're free, over 180,000 plus free images that are old archives that you can pull for just about anything. If you are quoting one of my favorite references for this, on Martin Luther King Day, everybody uses the same quote and everybody uses the same picture or the same statue. You will not stand out. We have found some of the best images from the New York Public Library. It's amazing. And I like for our team to be unique. We don't put out just stock templates, Canva stuff. We want to create something. So if you're looking to be a little unusual and stand out, the New York Public Library is a good way to go. Have I said video baby in the last 5 minutes? Video is gaining popularity every second of every day. People will sit around and watch video of something they would never look at pictures of. Will I watch paint dry? Yes, I will, 100%. If it's hyperlapsed and it's a redo or renovation or new construction, or they're cleaning off a sidewalk with a pressure washer, I'm going to watch it. People love that stuff. And you can do voiceover behind it and talk about anything you want to. As long as you're showing them something interesting, they will hang out and watch it. And that is so true. In fact, there are hundreds of accounts that will stitch another creator and have something like a sewing or a cross stitch or a crochet happening on one side of the screen and the creator telling the story on the other side of the screen, because people will watch what's happening, but they stay for the story. Have I said story? Stories connect you to people. That's when they understand. Nobody's going to listen to you until they know you understand where they're coming from. And as a small business owner who's been doing this a while, I get where you're coming from. You're the janitor and the CEO. You have a limited, finite amount of time, and you have all these different tasks to do. That's why we always try to help streamline the social media part. It's critical to grow your business, but you shouldn't have to give up your entire life to do it. Trending topics, again, humor is huge for trending topics. It is. So if you're not funny, find somebody who's funny and let's put them on your team pronto. But it could be trending. It could be a trending sound. It could be a trending quote. It could be a trending voiceover. It could be a trending cap cut. It doesn't necessarily even have to be you on camera. Some of the trends are super effective, and if they work for you, absolutely take advantage. User-generated content is huge. I cannot tell you how many times, especially with a more polished or a more professional bank attorney professional account, just doesn't want to, they don't want to use user-generated content. It works. People love it, especially the younger the audience. I know when I say younger, I'm talking about anybody under 30, 18 to 30. They are more likely to engage with a page if you talk to them. And when you share content that they've generated themselves and you tag them, that's a big deal. So now you're not only showing up on your followers' feed, you're showing up on their followers' feed. And when they comment on it and share it back to their own page where you've shared it for them, everybody that is connected to them is going to see it. That's a great way to gain new followers. It truly is. So don't shy away from user-generated content. If it's good, 100% use it. Repurpose good content. If you have a post that went viral 6 months ago, it's going to do well now. Now, Christmas in July, seasonal stuff. Can you do Christmas in July? Sure, if you execute it well. But if you have a post or a video that did great, that got thousands of views in September, it's going to get thousands of views in April. Now, I'm not saying recycle your entire library every 6 months. Don't get me wrong. But if you have posts that do well, it is totally okay to use them again. And repurposing good content. If you have something that killed on Facebook, share it on Instagram. Or if it killed on TikTok, share it on Reels. It's not going to do as well on Reels just because that's the way it works. But it will do pretty well. Generally, if it does good once, it'll do good again. And last but not least, you can pay. Advertising works if you know how to work it. If you know how to correctly choose your target audience, it can be a super effective way for you to grow. Facebook is one of the few platforms where you can actually pay to grow your follower base and target the follower, where it's not this random willy-nilly where you pay and you get 10,000 bots. No. It targets people who would be interested in your actual content and your actual product. There are so many different ways to do this. You can do a lookalike audience. You can do based on, geography, industry, profession, gender. Once upon a time, you could do it based on income, but they don't do that anymore. You can always pay if you want to. I would say with this caveat, make sure that you have a really strong foundation before you start pulling ads in, because one won't work without the other. Just bear that in mind. If you would like to get our very cool free download of 100 plus hooks that you can integrate into your very own content, if you scan this, we're doing 4 very cool. I mean, seriously, put a lot of time and energy into these downloads this month. We have 4. There's going to be one next week and one the last week. This QR code will get you all of those. If you are interested in the one about the cheat sheet we generated last week about the ideal number of characters in a caption, that's in this folder as well. But the hooks for your content, that's there. So if you scan the QR code, and we will add the actual link in the comments on every one of these lives, so that if you're on your phone and you can't scan it, you can still have access to the information. You guys, I can't wait to see you next week. And teaser, we have a free webinar coming up at the end of the month. I'm going to talk more about that next week, and you'll have 2 or 3 opportunities to clock into that live and ask whatever questions you want to. Until next week, I'm Karen with Social U, and I'm here to help. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for the Social University podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at Stay Social U. That's the letter U, and we will talk to you next week. Remember, you've got this.